Hello, everyone. Jose J. Garcia with Garcia Moham University here. My guest for today, she creates podcasts. We'll hear a little bit about that. She is a personal coach, a speaker, an entrepreneur, and relationship maker. Definitely want to hear about some of that. Eva Humpa, how are you? Hope I said that right that
Hi,
time.
Jose. Yes, you said it right. Thank you. It's really nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Pleasure to have you on here. So, Eva, like I was saying, I watch your channel. A lot of videos for those of you who do have Millionaire Flicks. Definitely go check out her channel. A lot of good content on there. So I know you through the same platforms, coaching, entrepreneurship. But for those that don't know you, tell us about you.
About me, I have been an image consultant for many years. Many years, since '93. I have been teaching. I have been working with different executives, companies. I have been working with politicians.
Mhm.
And there were lots of questions. I'm in a relationship maker, basically, because whatever you do, wherever you go, everything it's relationship. Who you know,
Yes.
who knows you, most importantly.
Uh-huh.
And if they like you, they're going to connect with you and going to hire you. If not, then it's not.
That
So
is huge already. You say that because one of the things that I teach when I coach my students is always is build relationships. This is not a one thing thing, unless you're doing something for a one time and get away from it is one thing. But anywhere in business, you have to build relationships. So that's huge. Absolutely. So how did you get started? You said 93 is when you got started?
yep,
Been doing it a
yep.
while. Good for you. Good for you. So what got you started into this?
I was working as a graphic artist and I
Mhm.
lived in Montreal at that time. And I said, you know what? I really liked fashion. I said, okay, let me go back to fashion school. So I was working full time and going to school full time. And I did the merchandising part of the fashion industry, the business part.
Mhm.
But when I came out, I said, you know what? I have an idea. I look at the person because I studied art. I know the colors look good. I know the shapes. And that's how I started. But I was very shy. I could not speak proper. English is my third language. So I was very
Okay.
shy to speak in public. So I joined Toastmasters. And 2 months after I joined, I gave my first presentation. And the rest is history. I really enjoyed it, and I have been doing presentations, and I got hooked on podcasting, which was very interesting because podcasting is like you sit here and you talk by yourself.
Mhm.
You don't have the audience to see if they like it, they don't like it,
Mhm.
you know. So it's just evolved basically.
Absolutely. And you're very good, no doubt. Like I said, I've watched some of your
Thank you.
channels. I will watch a lot more on there. So can't wait to see those. So let's jump in because it caught my attention when I was sitting there listening to these and everything's a relationship. You talk about couples and their marriages and you get into a whole lot of things on there. I'll let people go find that on for their own. But do you think the relationship slow or hinder success? Now talking from almost business and a relationship.
Uh, I'm sorry, I did not get your question. If it's slow or
If you were to be in a relationship, you're trying to
yes,
be successful in a business, whatever that may be. Do you think that starting a relationship while trying to also build, I guess, a business, would that slow it down or hinder that in a way?
it depends of the person, depends of the relationship. Because if
Okay.
you have somebody who is also a go-getter, also likes to improve and grow, then they're going to understand where you stand. But if not, then you're going to have lots of difficulties because they are not going to understand your passion and your drive and your go get whatever and you do whatever is necessary to succeed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And being on the same page, definitely, I see what you're saying. So I think when most of us think of a relationship, it's usually after high school, very young. If you could put an age on a right time for a relationship, what would that be?
well, there are many kind of relationships to begin with. There are in childhood you have the little kids that you have a relationship, and that's when the kids, when they start developing around 2 3 years old, then they start developing relationships. And that's very healthy, because kids who had not been exposed, it shows that when they grow up, they are very introvert and they are very antisocial. So kids, they need that. And after you have your first love, and after you have relationship, you have the parent and the child relationship. And when you grow up, and after, if you start working, you have the relationship between you and your employer. In school, and it's another subject, special when you are in high school. It's the most miserable year in someone's life. And after you develop intimate relationships, which I find that are the hardest in a way.
Yeah. Do you think people rush into relationships?
Yes. Yes. They think that they confuse lust with love. They don't ask enough questions. They don't know the other person's values. They don't know the boundaries. And when they get together, it's like, oh, it's honeymoon. But when the honeymoon is over, what then? Did you talk about, let's say, if you decide to get together, what about, you going to have kids or not? Do you want a house or not? Do you want to travel or not? What are your goals? Are the goals in synchronicity in a way? It doesn't have to be 100%, but it has to be in a certain way, so you can work together towards that goal. So it's so many components. When people get together, they just see like, oh my God, it's good looking woman or good looking man. And yeah, let's go to it. No, it doesn't work like that. Those relationships don't last. And when I meet people now and clients, couples, the most successful ones are the ones that develop later on. I said, for a man to be in a relationship, it has to be almost around to be 40 years old, because that time they are established, they build a career, hopefully. They know what they want. They kind of had the experience of dating, so and as much as it sounds they know what they want, most of the time they don't. They repeat the same patterns, but they have more of a hold of the future, of who they want to be with. So,
do you think it's a mature thing along with being more mature? Okay.
You have to be more mature. You have to be, but there are young people who are mature, and they are 50 years old. They acting like 15 years old. So it's a maturity, not really the age. But most of the clients I have seen, I would say 40, because they are not just ready. And that's why you see that couples, like the man cheats or the woman cheats, because they never had the experience to experience other people. So they get in a relationship from high school. That's the only thing they knew. But curiosity, they are the movies, they are everything that it's out there. It almost it's almost like it becomes a kind of question. Did I do the right thing? Maybe the other person is better. And then you see that there are so many divorces and the family structure broke up. Boys especially, and that's I'm working on very strongly at this point with other people from other continents, basically, that they did not have a father figure. Because if a man has kids from 3 different women, the same for women, how can you be a role model? How you can show that boy how to be a father, how to be a husband, and and for the girls, what kind of woman, what kind of guys to look for, because your dad is treating you really like how you're supposed to be treated. So,
absolutely. Do you believe people can be happy, truly happy, alone, single?
Yeah, it depends what you want in life. And happiness doesn't it doesn't depend on another person. If you expect somebody else to make you happy, you're going for a disaster. It's a too big of a job for another person to try to make you whole or happy. It doesn't work. You have to find the happiness in yourself so you can give and receive.
I don't think I've heard it put that way. That's interesting. Yeah, you expecting something so large, yet it doesn't seem it. Interesting.
How can
Well,
somebody make you happy? I mean,
yeah,
can they look behind your eyeballs and see things the way you see? Or can they have the feelings that you have? It's impossible.
Mies, but what is the definition of happiness to you?
A definition of happiness for me personally is to accept myself the way I am, with all the flaws and all the good and the bad, to realize that, yes, I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes, but there are no mistakes. There is something that you have to learn. I don't believe in mistakes. I believe in learning. Whatever it happens, you can think about that, oh, I didn't do right, and dwell on it for the past, for the behind, the past 20 years, the same item. It's not going to help you. So happiness, it comes from inside. Helping other people, seeing them happy, it makes me happy. Being with my family, it makes me happy. Doing what I do, like even talking to you, it makes me happy.
Oh, thank you.
It's an interaction. It's true. It's an interaction between two people, and we talk about issues that they are pertinent for me and they are important for me.
Absolutely. Going back a little bit to the whole business relationship, and does it hinder, or if you can see from the same page, you have, I guess, the same drive, the same visions. I mean, I think that's hard to ask for, but do you think two people can, in a relationship, actually work together side by side in a business and have a relationship outside of the business?
I have seen people in a business working side by side,
Mhm.
and they were fighting like cats and dogs.
Not common.
No, it takes a special person to be able to do that. Like, look what happened now during this, whatever happened, pandemic.
Mhm.
There are so many divorces because people are not used to be with one person, especially when we were locked down for 24/7. Like you
Wow.
go in a vacation, it's okay, but to be all the time, and you cannot have a thought of for yourself. Everybody needs that little hole where they can hide, and they can
Sure.
have their own thoughts. They can have everything,
Space. Yes.
space,
Mhm.
but can work. Yes, but I think it takes lots of maturity
Yeah.
and
No.
respect for each other. Maturity and a lot of respect for each other. Otherwise, no.
I did not know, and I guess I should have thought on something like that. I didn't hear or read statistics, but I imagine now you saying that during COVID, the whole pandemic, being stuck in one room and one house, I assume the divorce rate went quite a bit over the norm. I would imagine so. That's definitely, and it's interesting. I mean, not in a good way, but to see that who are you really with? Sometimes I guess is a question. Because if
Yeah,
you're really stuck with somebody, can you make it through? You would think that the more time together, the better. But we know that that's not always the case. So when you
no,
mix in business like this, like I'm thinking, one, there's no break in between. Everything is job, business. It's just like a big roll. So always interested hearing that. And I've heard somewhere, I'm sure that some people, I guess, make it work, but it seems like that take a specialty to do something like that. Yeah. Do you think, my question was next was, why did so many relationships fail? Do you think it's overspending of time?
no, I don't think so. I don't think when people get sometimes together, they have this idea of Hollywood idea that that's how life should be and that's how it's going to be. But as bills are piling up, especially now that they had people did not have the money because they or lost businesses. And I just wanted to go back to one thing that you said before about people don't work well together, that they go home and they talk still about business. Unless the people can leave the business behind and they say, okay, now we're changing hats. Now we are in a family people, family man, family woman. That's going to make the difference between being able to be together or not. But going back to the pandemic, and the family violence was skyrocketing, and people could not escape. And I had
Oh,
seen the statistics, kids, they were abused. So,
mm,
but what I think, and this is just my thought,
mhm.
a man is a hunter. A man is supposed to, from the old times, all the time, they were bringing home the bacon, so to speak. But they were the one that they were taking care of the family. The woman was who was holding the whole family structure together. They were raising the kids, they were doing everything. Now for a man to lose a business, to lose money, to be in that place where he feels trapped,
Mhm.
I think the mental illness gets in, the depression, and people are acting out without, I'm sure most of them, they did not wanted to do it. But when you have that kind of extreme pressure, then what you do, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What do you think is the number one reason for divorce? Is it financially? I've heard that.
Financially is a part of it, but finances would not matter
Mhm.
unless if everything else goes well. You know, it should not matter if you are on the same wavelength, if you love each other, if you raise the kids in a certain way, and you are a parent not working against each other, but you are together and you're raising that kid together. And you have many times men who got divorced, and I had quite a few clients, and they said, if I would have known what I know now, I would have never divorced, because they thought, okay, I'm going to another place, is going to be better or better, and it did not happen. So that's why I'm talking about maturity, and give yourself
Right.
time
Hmm.
to know other people. And after you settle down and you say, okay, like in all times, and it's true, if you listen, I was listening to some old people saying, how come your marriage lasted this long, 70 years, 80, 60 years?
Mhm.
Says, where it was, if it was broken, we fixed it.
Yeah.
We are living in a disposable society. Just go around and see the garbage. It's like mattresses, like TVs, like, it's like everything is just, let's change it. Let's have more.
Oh,
Why? So
interesting. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. No, we definitely don't work through, don't fix. That's an issue, I'm sure. A couple more questions for you here. So, what would you suggest to up and coming couple, I suppose, a relationship who's getting into business that would help them focus on the relationship and the business?
have a very clear idea who's doing what.
Mm,
It's important that each person has the role that they are the best at it. And don't try to manipulate or to control everything, because then it's not going to work. You have to be very open and let them figure out. You get together, you talk about things, but it's important that you understand where you stand.
mhm.
Don't go home and start fighting about something it didn't go well. Leave, close the door when you enter, and leave it outside. And I
That's
know
not.
it's not easy. I know. But you know what? Give yourself half an hour to talk about business. But after you put it aside, have date nights. Make sure that you have some very special intimate time when you are talking with each other and you connecting with each other.
Mhm.
I had a couple that did not, they were like totally estranged after 10 years of marriage.
Mhm.
And I put them to test. I said, I give you a job, it's a job. I said, every morning and every evening when you meet, you look into each other's eyes and you hold each other after. But take that a few seconds, because I find, I don't know about you, but when I don't look in somebody's eyes, it's easy to dismiss.
Hmm.
When you look in somebody's eyes, they are there. You can see them.
Sure.
And I have done this. I have been so it's that's one of the things. You have to find a place that you have your boundaries. You know, if somebody
Yeah.
says, one of the couples says, you know what, I'm not going to do this because I cannot, let's hire somebody.
Mhm.
Have that talk, but it's communication, and that's what I teach the most. It's communication. It's, you have to talk, because nobody can guess what you're thinking, and most of the people, they
Yes.
expect you to think, and
Read
oh,
their
how come you
mind.
didn't know? You can't.
Yeah. Interesting. A lot of tips, a lot of nuggets there drop for sure. One of the things that caught me there was leave it at the door. That would
Yeah.
definitely be a challenge. That's going to take some mindset, some strength to be able to, okay, work is over, because it tends to just blend after a while. It just rolls, and late at night, you're still talking about work. Early morning, you're still talking about. So it definitely take a
And
lot.
where is the intimacy? If everything is work, then
Sure.
it's better be in a partnership than married.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Last question for you. Thank you for
Yes.
being here again. What is your favorite successful quote?
Favorite successful quote. I'm just rebranding my business,
Mhm.
and one of the things, it's, there is no negotiation without clear communication.
There's no negotiation without clear communication.
Communication.
That's good. I'm going to quote you
That's
on that.
yeah, I came up with that. I said that's my slogan at this point. I had something else, but it's so true, because if you are not clear, you cannot achieve anything.
Huh. That's good. Very good. Absolutely. Well, Eva, thank you so much for coming on here. I'm sure after people hear this podcast, they're going to want to reach out to you. How can people connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me on Instagram, Eva the Relationship Maker. They can connect with me on my website, evatherelationshipmaker.com. So I'm keeping it easy, so people don't have to think, okay, this is this is that. And my email is eva@evatherelationshipmaker. So it's quite.
Easy, plain enough. And we'll tag those to the bottom of this video here so people can connect, make it easier for them.
Thank you.
Of course, we'll share this video with Millionaire Flix, and it'll go on our YouTube channel. So, Eva, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Thank you. It was my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Maybe I can interview you, because I
Yes.
love tiny houses. It's my passion. So I'm going to get in touch with you soon. Okay.
That'll work. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.